Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell below, get all the updates. Apparently that's a thing. Really excited to continue No Hype, No Buy November, and continuing doing requests that people had made with things they had seen behind me, and being like, hey, it'd be cool to review this. I'd like to see that. So Pressman was like, hey, JW Lee's regular, any of the special aged in barrel ones. So I do have a few JW Lees, and I decided to do this one. Oops, I don't know how I missed that. Completely sober right now, and I still missed that. Wow. This is from 2001. So it is the oldest beer I have in my cellar, so I thought that'd be pretty cool to do. And yes, if this beer was a person, it is now 18 years old and could be drafted. So that's kind of crazy to think about how old this beer is. I had given Matt from Massive Beer Reviews one of these as a mystery beer as a thank you for hosting the Beer Tuber Palooza. And he had enjoyed it and everything. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into this. I mean, I don't know if I've had a beer this old before. I had a quad years ago that was very old and it was amazing. And but I don't think it was quite 18 years old. So yeah. No head, not super surprising there. I see some sediment coming off. If you don't know anything about JW Lee's, it's an old ale. I quite like old ales, barley wines, quads, all that kind of stuff. They're different but similar, obviously. So I'm not surprised. I should say this. I think it's 11.5% ABV. Yeah, 11.5%. And is a product of England. I do have a 2012, 2011 aged in port barrels. So those are the other ones I have. But anyway, hey, really excited to do this one. It's like that dirty brown water, not water, but it's a dark brown approaching black, and it does look like just like gross liquid. And I'm not saying that specifically about this beer, but sewage water kind of a color. But that's what it should look like, especially this old, I'm thinking. Let's see about the aroma. So I'm wondering if it's just because I just read port, but it smells a lot like a port, actually, a port wine, which I'm a big fan of that style of wine. And I don't drink a ton of wine, but that is one of the ones I do enjoy when I do have wine. Definitely molasses. It doesn't have a ton of sweetness. There's a little bit there, but it's not as sweet as what I think an English barley wine is. I have recently done where I did the quads of the Saint Bernardus, West E12, and Rochefort. It's not as sweet smelling as that either. So again, these styles are similar, but they're not the exact same, and it's definitely not as sweet as that stuff was. That being said, there is a dried fruit, especially like raisins, figs, things like that. And there's a little bit of a cinnamon thing that I got in those quads too. A little bit of licorice, black licorice. I quite like this smell, and does not smell off or anything. It doesn't smell like wet cardboard or any of those things. It doesn't smell like sour cherry. So I think it's done pretty well in the bottle. But there's only one way to find out. Cheers. Wow. That's amazing. That is really amazing. The lack of carbonation and it's sweeter in the taste than the aroma let on. It lends itself to this syrupiness. You'd have to boil it down to make a syrup, but I don't think you'd have to boil too much off of it to make it a syrup. It's very syrupy. That molasses comes through. There is this brown bread, a little bit of rye bread, which are descriptors I use in those quads as well. And those ones had been aged, but not as long as this. That all those were around 5 and 7 years old, if I remember correctly. As I'm talking, they're in the back of my at the back of my tongue. it really is this molasses lingering, like an explicitly and exclusively molasses. So that, like, I can't understate how much of that comes through. Wow. Rum soaked raisins. Wow. Maple syrup. Speaking of that syrup, I could see like someone thinking that this has like some maple in it. It really reminds me, I don't know if you can see, Sandy Claus, one of my favorite, or actually probably is my favorite Christmas beer, one of my favorite beers ever. That one's a sweeter version of this. Like, they're very similar. Um, and because I love that beer so much, I think it's one reason I'm loving this. Wow, it's really good. I'll do one more swig, see if I can get anything else in there. But like, I'm really enjoying this. I think it's clear that I am. It's not medicinal. If someone was sensitive to beers like this being medicinal, I could see them saying that it is. But for me, it's not. There's a dark cherry note with the syrupiness. I haven't mentioned the booze. Very well hidden. It's not surprising. It's a 10%, like higher than 10%, double digit, I should say. Beer. That's not super surprising. But I get no alcohol burn. Little bit of a taste is melded in there, and that's kind of what I want to end on. Is, and I said this with some of those quads, is this beer. I don't know if it's really lost any of its flavors, but they have melded together into this harmonious, amazing beer. Um, you age anything at all, it can go sideways. You age something for 18 years. I mean, I have a 19-year-old, 18-year-old kid. Like, that's a long time to sit on a beer. Like when I think about what how old they are and being in college and stuff. Like when they were born, how old this beer was, either a year old, or not even old. I don't need to do the math. A year from the oldest, and in the same year as the youngest, but. I'm just saying about them being in college. Like, okay, so like their whole lives roughly, this beer has just been sitting on a shelf, and it's still delicious. Actually, it may be, I would say, more delicious than it was fresh. I bet, because I'm enjoying this more. And I like J.W. Lee's fresh, but this is way better than any fresh one I've ever had. Yeah, this beer is amazing. Yeah, like really amazing. Pressman, thank you so much for the recommendation and request to drink one of these. I'm glad I picked this one. I'm sure the other ones are drinking great, but holy crap, I can't imagine they're drinking as good as this. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate that. I have the beers that people have wanted me to review from what they see behind me. I have a list right here. I'm just trying to cross them off as I do them. Not on the same day, obviously, because I would die. But if you ever see something, you're like, hey, it'd be cool if you review this. I'll try to like jot it down and get to it as soon as I can. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. I really appreciate that. Check me out on Instagram on Tapped. So I have beer reviews at both those places. Please like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, age beautiful beers. Cheers.